Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Study Session with the one and only Vansh Sharma. You might remember from our last episode covering Key Concepts 1.1, in which we traveled back to the Paleolithic era to interview our friend whose identity was chosen to keep secret for his own personal reasons. We're glad to have Mr. Bruno on our show, but we have found another guest for today's episode. Richard Dixon has managed to travel to another part of time in which Mr. Bruno's son, who is also being kept anonymous for his own personal reasons, is trying to gather a group of people to form an agricultural society. Mr. Bruno's son, who we're going to call Brian for our episode, is a part of a revolution fundamental to the development of society in today's world. He said that they have a couple lessons to teach us on how to keep an empire together. I wonder how that'll go. Scholars today call this change the Neolithic Revolution. Let's tune into the conversation to learn more about this global advancement. Take it away, Richard. Thank you, Vansh. I'm here with Brian, the son of who we used to call Mr. Bruno in our old video, from the Anunnaki tribe in the Indus Valley. We've heard from rumors about Brian's plans to develop a more permanent, stable society based on a newfound wonder. Tell us more about your plans, Brian.
Well, Richard, I plan to implement a world-changing advancement to create a life free of worry about whether or not one will have dinner. People won't have to even think about how to find their next meal because all they will need to be in one place. No more will our people have to lead purposeless lives. We will have goals higher than just tomorrow. We will start to think about bigger things. We will be able to create a better world of when men can travel the moon.
Brian, please just spare us the surprise and just tell us what you're planning to do and how you're planning to do it.
Richard, some of the kids in our tribe had the idea to take a sprout growing on the outskirts of camp and replace its seeds in a field. We predicted to stay in this camp for about 3 months because the particular herd we're following. So we figured out we could let the kids go through with what they are trying. But the time I was to follow, they heard to a new spot. We found an entire pasture full of edible berries and nuts to consume, rather than just our cattle. Of course, this change is large, cannot be accepted overnight, so we decided to follow the herd one more time, proposing a larger idea to the tribe of elders.
Did you manage to make a fool of yourself in front of the whole tribe, trying to blatantly go against all of the tribe's traditions and cultures?
At first, I wasn't taken very seriously, but as I started to implement the benefits of farming into the daily lives of our tribe's people, they started to be a bit more receptive to my ideas. They started showing interest in the process of growing each crop. I realized that my ideas weren't too crazy. Once we found out each crop had the ability to reproduce itself with minimal work, much of the tribe was persuaded to at least give me a thinking chance.
Do you think you were the only one who had this marvelous idea?
In fact, I'm pretty sure agriculture has sprouted in many places in the world slowly diffused to the rest of the planet. We know that these plants require lots of fresh water, meaning other places that agriculture originally developed were near river banks and valleys. These places include sites as the Americas, Africa, Mesopotamia, Indonesia, our tribes in South India, and the Yellow River.
What type of crops do you favor the growth of?
I have learned through many years of experience that crops such as cereal grains produce in the harvest are rich in carbohydrates, which are easy to store. These carbs will last longer without spoiling. Easily grew, meaning we could accumulate much larger food surplus to help our stable community grow larger. Well, we have understood that plants mean consumption cannot be growth in proximity to wild plants. Our plants are usually much more delicate and often killed by wild species. This means there's a large amount This meant there's a large amount of.
As for all things in nature, for all good things, there is at least some bad. Have you seen any negative feedback or suffered any problems with agriculture?
There's a large amount of labor required for the stages preceding the growth of crops. We need to clear large plots of trees, rocks, and other independence to slow sowing our seeds.
How has this affected society in general?
This period caused lots of interpersonal tensions and forced the laborers to work with corporations and lean to over-oriented to one common goal. This eventually helped build a much tighter community that could withstand much more as one. We have also noticed that the importance of accumulation of crops there has become a social distinction. Many of one farmer's change the crops could be seen as higher than others because they control the most vital parts of our community. In this way, many people distinguish themselves based on material wealth. The need for knowledge in how grain grew led to the divided roles and giving some more prestige than others. Another problem was that women were starting to lose importance as they didn't have much as a role in agriculture and they did in hunting. Their role was often left behind to care for children rather than being taken along for the hunt.
What else have you discovered on your journey to establish agriculture?
Agriculture has given people more time to focus on things other than hunting. We now have people specialized in different aspects of life. Perhaps decided to take interest in things including arts, metallurgy, weapons, trade, and more. Metallurgy has been one of the biggest positive outcomes of agriculture. Metallurgy is the development of metals and uses for area including labor, farming, textiles, and the forging of weapons. Metal weapons allow for weapons more superior than stone tools, giving some communities an advantage over others.
Well, that's all for today from Mr. Brian. Thank you for tuning in. Now back to Vansh in the studio. Well, there you have it, folks. That's how Brian plans on keeping his agricultural society together. Just like he has, many other civilizations of his time kept their communities intact using the same methods he did. Tune in next time. That's all for today, folks.